Hello and welcome to the Magic Mirror Podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Khan the Trinket Mage, and with me is my co-host, 33L.
Hello.
Additionally, we have our other co-host, Salubrious Snail.
Hello, hello.
And this week, we're going to be talking about precons, made for Commander design, all of that. We have some different opinions and ideas about how made for Commander designs are affecting the format, and we're just going to chat about them here. And then afterwards, we'll answer some of your questions as well. But before we get into all of that, we need to thank today's sponsor, Card Castle, the easy way to sort your collection digitally. If you want to start scanning and sorting your cards today, click the link in the description to make a free account, and you'll get 1 free month of premium access if you use our link. Also, if you want to scan your cards faster, check out CardBot. It's a machine that helps you scan cards way quicker. Your local game store might have one. If you want to check, there's a link to that below as well. Thanks to Card Castle for sponsoring the podcast. Okay, so the idea for this podcast kind of like randomly came about when I think we were just clicking through 3-color commanders on EDH Rec and noticed, so I have Esper pulled up here, and we noticed that all of the most popular ones are from precons. Y'shtola, Hashton, Aloro, Sidar, Urza, Elia, Marnius Calgar, and then Zur before 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more precon commanders. And I mean, especially 3-color combinations because we don't get as many 3-color legends in sets. But this is, Jund as well. Korvald, I know that was a Brawl deck. That doesn't count. It's a commander card. Henzi, the new Spacecraft, Disa, Windgrace, all of these are very popular. And, when you look at it, there's a lot of, it's sort of undeniable that there's a lot of popular cards that are designed for commanders specifically, right? I feel like that's not a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and this kind of ties into a couple of videos I've made recently about supremely popular commanders, those being the Eminence commanders and then also Yuriko, who were very clearly designed for commander, have this very kind of unique commander design, the way they interact with the command zone, and also like they're the most popular commander in their colors by a bajillion decks.
Yeah, it's definitely like a shift that is, I guess we can discuss whether or not we find this to be like good or bad or neutral. But if I looked at popular ninja commanders on EDH Rec, you'll find Yuriko, which is very much designed around ninjas and ninjutsu, is at the top. And then Satoru Umezawa, which is designed for it, is also at the top. Now, this is a change from how Commander was back in, 2015 or something, where a Commander ninja deck would be like a pile of like ninjas from Kamigawa, and you probably had, was it Hiruge the Still Wind? Was your option for your commander? So you're stuck in mono blue? You don't know this classic banger commander?
He tutors ninjas.
He's actually not a bad card.
He's pretty good.
When he deals combat damage to a player, you search your library for a ninja, put it in your hand, and then you can pay 2 generic. Target ninja can't be blocked this turn.
Oh, this card.
Actually, good commander.
That's an okay card, for sure.
Yeah. But now, you don't have to be locked into this like old weird card. You have a bunch of different Dimir options that kind of unify them among all the colors that they're in.
You have a Grixis option too now, honestly. It's like you have Goro.
Yeah, you have Goro and
whoever.
Satoru.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a change from that. I guess we could just open with that. Thoughts on that as a change in how the format works.
I think it seems like kind of an inevitability, and I consider it kind of neither good nor bad. First of all, I think I should state, you should not decide the health of the game or how happy you are with the game based on what is popular. You don't need to care what the top of the EDH Rec page is. You might play against those commanders more often, but there are plenty of very, very popular commanders that I have never played against. So I would not recommend, getting all up in a tizzy over what the top commanders are. But also I think these commanders becoming the most popular is kind of just a result of a couple natural factors. Like, for one, they're printed in precons, so more players are presented them as commander options. And also, I imagine their design is a little bit kind of more tuned to be a popular commander. which
It's
I
more
guess
streamlined.
more streamlined in some ways for Commander, which I guess we can kind of expand a little bit throughout this episode.
Yeah, for me, I feel like, I don't know. Yes, this is an inevitability. We're going to get 4 Commander designs when Commander's the biggest format. That's just like, duh, of course. Wizards of the Coast wants to make money, and therefore when Thing is big, they can sell more Thing for that thing. That makes sense to me. They're a company after all. Whether or not that's good or not is really a wash. I think overall, I think a lot of made for Commander designs are very great. And I think a lot can be, let's face it, very problematic. But once again, it's just like, you don't have to define your deck or feel lesser than for running a card that was made for Commander. I feel like a lot of people struggle with that maybe. Just like, oh, I put a card that was made for this deck in my deck. My deck is no longer unique or cool, which is, I feel like, a mindset that some people can have about these cards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in complete agreement here. I think this is like kind of inevitable, kind of natural. Like, eventually they would have made a Grixis, ninja kind of card at some point or whatever. It's not like a bad thing necessarily to even speed up that inevitability. Like, do we have to wait 10 years to get a Dimir commander for ninjas? No, I mean, might as well print one sooner rather than later. I think generally also you don't really have to worry about what's popular, like Snail said. I'm in complete agreement with that. I don't really what you play is what you play, what I play is what I play. My only caveat to that is I do think that the power level of cards is the only concern because, yes, you can play, a popular commander and that's probably fine. But if a commander is sort of like weirdly too strong or something, that does affect the gameplay in some capacity. And I guess we'll talk about some designs that we maybe feel are too strong or too weak or whatever in just a moment. But that's like my only concern with made for commander cards is like power level sometimes. But otherwise, I think it's fine.
I know power level has been like a really big touching point on my last 2 videos, talking about commanders that I think in the case of Edgar Markov and, well, especially Edgar Markov and Dragon, commanders that are like maybe like feel out of tune in casual. And then in the case of Yuriko, a card that just really has too much on it and is too good for the amount of mana it costs to deploy it repeatedly. And I think power level can definitely exacerbate bad designs, as is the case with Yuriko, and her kind of full commander tax cheating. So I don't think power level is necessarily a problem in isolation. Like, we've gotten kind of some very strong commanders. I'd rather not see it jump up too high, but I think without other aggravating factors, I don't think it typically produces super frustrating designs, but it definitely can be playing with fire quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of depends on where the power comes from as well. Like Rograk, son of Rograch, is one of the most powerful commanders in an objective sense. If you look at like Cedh, but it's not like Cedh is kind of its own thing. It doesn't affect, casual in the same way. So when we say power, we're not always going to be talking about like objective power, but like for casual gameplay power, I suppose we should clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to talk a little bit about this precon design thing with the face commander seeing a significantly larger percentage of play when compared to other designs?
Sure.
Because that is what kind of spurred this video, is just like a haphazard noticing of this fact.
Yeah, so it is. I guess it is kind of interesting when we look at how popular face commanders are specifically. So like what is this? Hearthhole, the World Seed, the new Jund spacecraft commander, is now the 3rd most popular Jund commander on EDH Rec, which is really big, by the way. There's a lot of popular Jund commanders. So that's like it's 11,700-ish decks. That's a lot of decks for a card that's not that old.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen anyone play this outside of a precon league yet, IRL.
It's a really good precon, by the way. Oh my lord.
I reviewed it, and Hearthhole is just very flexible. Like, it just does a lot. Like, it has a very nice utility in the early game, and then it also has kind of a very strong late game thing, and you can put together some like kind of combos with it, with like a Scape Shift style card or another thing that just sacrifices a whole bunch of lands. So it's just a very kind of flexible card. It's very cool looking too, so yeah. I definitely get it. It's a cool card.
Oh yeah, sweet card.
I feel like this is something that people may not realize is the reason why a lot of these cards get really popular is because of, yes, they're made to work in Commander, but that's not entirely the truth, or like at least it's not the whole truth, where yes, they're designed to work with Commander and that's why they're popular, but also they're designed for maximum smoothness, a precon face commander or backup commander, right? If a commander's designed to lead a deck and a player wants to play this new deck, and precons are a very good entry point, right? They are going to want to make that commander as smooth as butter, right? This is where you get the Cholanes of the world, right? Where it's just like, oh, it draws cards. Why does this commander draw cards? Why does every commander design draw cards? It's because they don't want players to feel helpless when they pick a precon off the shelf. I feel like that's the major thing. And this also extends to standard set design with Cosmic Spider-Man and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles card, right? The 5-color one, where it is a binding glue that can hold a bunch of bad cards together if you want to have all the cards you opened up from pre-release in a commander deck and then just like start jamming games, right? So these designs are purposefully smooth so that makes them easier to build around. And that's not necessarily easy to build around isn't necessarily a slur in this case, by the way. It's fine that these cards are easy to build around. That
does
they're the whole
Spider-Man
package.
draw cards? Am I stupid?
No. It doesn't draw cards or anything, but it's just a decent like beater enabler in the command zone.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So yes. Long story short, they're smooth designs so that way players can onboard into Commander easier from a precon because it just works.
I think Corvald is the king of this.
Okay, I was just gonna say I think the 2 Tevils are the best possible example of this because one of them is this the Tevil from the set is like this super spicy card that you have to build around really carefully, and then the Tevil from the precon is just this kind of nice kind of graveyard value engine churny guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of them is insane,
and it's like 5 times as popular.
Insane mill engine. It spoon feeds you. The other one wants you to spoon feed it. It's like the complete opposite. It's beautiful. It will kill your ass if you don't.
And I love that both of them exist. That's perfect to me.
For sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say Corvald's kind of the king of this, right? Corvald is
the Fey Curse King, even
the Fey Curse King. Specific. I forgot there's a second Corvald that nobody cares about.
Yeah,
Corvald, the Fey Curse King. If it just had flying in the second line of text or the third line of text, I guess if you count flying. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, it gets a counter. You draw a card. It is a very powerful commander.
Oh yeah,
but the fact that it also sacks a thing when it enters and attacks means you can't mess up with this card. Even if you have nothing other than, I don't know, the resources to cast it, you can play it and sack a land and still draw a card to make your commander bigger and then attack and sack another land and still draw another card, you know?
Yeah.
Like no matter what, you're always doing stuff with this card. The floor is so high.
It's kind of a clever like downside or benefit that's disguised as a downside.
Corvald is stronger because you have to sack something when he enters. It's beautiful. It looks like so bad, and then it's just like, no, this just completely feeds itself. I mean, look at number 2 on Jund as well. Henzi. Henzi also works this way. You get your Henzi removed. Oh well. I've seen Henzi decks that just run sack outlets to like kill him and replay
so
him.
They can recast their own commander more, yeah.
Yeah, just because it's that good to do. It's like, yes, these floors are so low, and that is by design. And I'm going to even argue that it's not necessarily a bad thing. In Corvald's case, I don't
think any of us is arguing it's a bad thing, right?
Yeah, but I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing. Sure, independent designs might be too strong, but having a high floor for a commander design, making it easy to build around, if the power level isn't there, like an Edgar Markov or a Corvald, that makes it a little bit too egregious, a Yuriko, that makes that high floor egregious. If the ceiling is also somewhat capped, it gives a smooth experience every single time. I don't know if that's an issue. I think it's a good thing when a commander is easy to build and it's easy to make a deck that you enjoy and that works, right?
For sure. Yeah, and I think that I take the 2 Tevils as a great example of, you have something here for the person who wants a deck that's going to be functional without putting too much work in, and which, has a commander that is kind of well-rounded enough that even if you make mistakes building your deck, kind of, or even if you're playing just the precon, maybe if you make some questionable swaps, the deck will still function okay. But it's nice that there's that, and also the other one that requires a whole lot more kind of tuning and effort to build around. I think the existence of those 2 things to cater to 2 different player demographics is very good.
All right. I do want to move on a little bit now to the sort of next topic that we can talk about for commander design, and that's commander specific mechanics. I kind of put the carriage before the horse a little bit. I did mention Edgar Markov, Eminence.
We can just talk about Markov here.
Oh, honest to God. Yeah, let's have this be a Markov section a little bit, and then we can also maybe dabble in a few other mechanics as well as Eminence.
Yeah, I think, is it okay if I say we're in agreement that Markov was maybe a mistake of a commander design?
Maybe he's just a little bit too annoying. Oh, perhaps.
Yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, Edgar Markov has Eminence, which is a specific mechanic designed for the commander format, which says whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar Markov is in the command zone or on the battlefield, you make a 1/1 black vampire creature token. Edgar also has first strike and haste, and whenever he attacks, you put a counter on all your vampires. So that first line, the Eminence one, is always active. You will always get an extra vampire whenever you cast a vampire, and it's functionally uninteractable. Your opponents can't like stop him from being emanating. I know technically there's like some jank things. I'm sure somebody in the comments will mention like Mindslaver, and then you exile it, and then blah blah blah. But like, under normal circumstances, I cannot stop you from emanating.
That makes it sound like your opponent reeks or something.
Maybe they do. They're a Markov player. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like major point is probably that it's probably come up in Snail's video. I don't quite remember, but just like I feel like Soren's major downside is 1, uninteractability, of course. 2, it does make a serious board presence, and 3, you are not incentivized to cast this dude at all. +1/+1 on all of your vampires when he attacks. Oh my God, it does not matter. It's like having bodies in black for free stapled on top of your other bodies is already just stupid. You not only just because captivating vampire, but just because black sacks things for value already.
Like just skull clamp.
Yeah, just clamp, and it's just like it's so goated, even without having to ever cast Markov.
Yeah, to me, Eminence designs don't need to feel that uninteractable. They will feel a little bit uninteractable, and that will very much bother some removal lovers of the world, but that doesn't have to be a design flaw. With Edgar Markov, it absolutely is. It is too easy to trigger, and you get too much benefit, and the combination of these things just makes for a very gross play experience playing against it. It just feels unstoppable. This player just has this, all this token material they can do whatever with at all times. So I think, it's just too much for too little effort.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of expands into Yuriko in my mind as well. Yuriko is also very uninteractable, and in fact, much like Henzi, it feels like a lot of Yuriko players like jam their deck full of ways to remove Yuriko because she's more valuable in the command zone than in play, almost. Because you can give her unblockability super easy with the ninjutsu.
Yeah, and then there's also a Derevi Imperial Tactician, which cheats the commander tax. It has the pay 4 mana, just put it from the command zone into play. Yeah, cards like this so removing a commander commanders are already somewhat resilient to removal, right? Because they go back to the command zone, you can just replay them the next turn. This is why path to exiling a commander always feels bad, because they can just untap, play a land, recast their commander. But cards like Derevi really skirt around that, and especially because Derevi can just ETB and untap a land. It's functionally always 3 mana, which is crazy. That's just his normal cost at instant speed, like uncounterable. That card's kind of crazy too. I feel like, I guess, maybe what we're learning here is commanders that incentivize you to never actually literally cast the card. Like Derevi, you're not casting it, and you're not really casting Yuriko either. You're definitely not casting Edgar. The ones that don't want you to cast their commander kind of go against playing a commander.
Yeah, you guys have not seen my Yuriko video yet because I have not released it yet, but
it'd be crazy if I had.
Yeah.
Some people who are watching might have. My basic point is that you cannot have effects like Derevi and Yuriko because they do not interact with command attacks as a concept. They do not interact with command zone typically. They just ignore it. They are just kind of skirting the rules, not even making the gesture of acknowledging command zone. And I think a good kind of counterexample to this is Liesa, Shroud of Dusk. paying 2 life rather than 2 mana for subsequent Liesa casts is nothing. It is such a cheap life cost. It's basically meaningless. But you're still casting the card, and you're still kind of acknowledging the rules of the format, which makes it a lot better. And also, Liesa is clearly designed with that in mind. It's designed to be this constantly recast thing, so it's not kind of egregious.
Yeah, her ceiling is super low. It's not like you draw a card or they pay 2 life. It's like she just makes you lose 2 life, and it's symmetrical too, even though she has a life linking beater.
Yeah, I think the problem with Derevi is the card is ridiculously powerful and it cheats the commander attacks. Whereas like Liesa, yeah, you cheat the commander attacks, but I'm not too concerned because this card isn't going to like dominate the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can build Liesa to be pretty menacing. You can do that. And it's just like, but that requires building around it. Whereas Edgar Markov is like, I put good vampires in my deck. My deck is menacing.
Yeah.
Or Derevi, I put good efficient tempo plays in my deck. My deck is menacing. Or even like, of course, at the upper end, Stasis.
Liesa taxes a resource that players by default have in great abundance. So you really have to build your deck around taking away that resource. You have to build a cutthroat aggro deck. Or make a life game deck and just have like kind of a mediocre commander, I guess.
I really liked in your video, Snail, on Eminence, where you talked about Arabo, Roar of the World, which is an Eminence commander, but the Eminence is like way more interactable because it just buffs a cat, which means you can interact with the thing being buffed, Even though I can't stop the buff from continuing to be given, I can do things. If the cat is attacking me for lethal, it doesn't say Eminence, it's unbeatable, it's just stronger, and then I can interact with it normally, which I do think is kind of neat.
Yeah, I think when in doubt, it's always good to add extra steps to get some form of value if you're worried that there's going to be some, concerns of uninteractability. Because if you just add a couple extra steps, add a couple extra pieces of specificity, I think you kind of can paper over what might otherwise be kind of a frustrating mechanic.
Okay. Do we want to move on to talking about maybe some specific highlighted designs that really emphasize the interesting playground that 4 commander design gets to have, as well as some of the ones that maybe like missed heavily?
I was going to start with maybe one that I think is okay, but not great, which is greatest mana value of a commander you own. We see this on a cycle of cards with vision in the title. So like
the one where the flashback is cheaper.
Yes, the one with the flashback. Visions of Ruin, Visions of Duplicity, Visions of Dread, and the flashback is cheaper for the mana value of your commander. And then there are also just a handful of kind of standalone designs like Stinging Study, Cloud Kill, and Majestic Genesis that care about a commander mana value. And I think in principle, you guys might disagree with me. I think in principle, it's kind of cool to throw a bone to high mana value commanders, but in practice, I find them a little boring. They just give like an extra good card to draw for those decks, which is fine, but not all that interesting. Doesn't feel like it really engages with the high mana value particularly.
I agree with that, but I still want to see more of these. So like if I look at the top Selesnya commanders, the most popular one is Sithis. And it's because it's a 2-drop and it just says, draw a billion cards on it, right? And, I guess there is something to be said about, obviously I understand this is casual commander. And if you want to play like a dog water, terrible Selesnya commander in the command zone, that's fine. But generally people tend to play the things that are more powerful and cheaper and easier. And, naturally that's kind of how the game progresses. I do think it's kind of cool to have this like subset of cards that care about high mana value. So, when they print a Selesnya commander that costs 8 mana instead of 2, but it does something crazy with enchantments, you kind of can add these in your deck as a bonus to kind of help you get towards that. And that's like a bonus that you get that someone else who's playing just the more efficient commander doesn't have access to. I think that's kind of an interesting dynamic. And I think it's cool if they would promote that.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see more like high mana value matters, but the way we've gotten it so far isn't very inspired.
Agreed. I don't play any of these.
Cloud Kill being 6 mana is just so rough. I get it's an uncommon, but like, wow. 6 mana and then all creatures get like -8/-8 if my commander's huge. It's just like, wow, that's so bad.
It would be really cool if these were pushed. Like if this was a 3-drop, it'd be so interesting.
Oh yeah, no, if it was like a Toxic Deluge mana value and then you go like, I have Villas in the command zone. By the way, -8/-8 for 3 mana or 4 mana. That's worth playing.
Yeah.
I think Stinging Study definitely gets the closest to a card where I'm like, wow, yeah, that's definitely interesting. Because if you think about it, Yeah, you're expensive. It's not only an instant for 5 mana that like draws you anywhere from 6 to 8 cards, or 9 cards you have Algavoth, I guess. But it is, more importantly, it does actually kind of synergize with having a high mana value commander, because you're probably just like vomiting out your hand with ramp to get to your high mana value commander, or you're doing some other game plan with your spells to get to your high mana value commander. Like in the meantime, you're not doing anything that entire time. At least this refills your hand when you cast it at instant speed after over the course of the game doing stuff besides casting your commander, because it's like 1 billion mana. I feel like one of the best examples of maybe 4 commander design that supports high mana commanders is Hellkite Courser.
Yeah. I love that card.
It comes out, it crashes out for 1 turn, it goes back, and then in the future you get to cast it from the command zone for realsies, right? Love Hellkite Courser. That's a very interesting high mana value commander design in my mind.
When this creature enters, you may put a commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste, return to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step. Oh man, if this wasn't a 6-drop, if it was like a little bit cheaper,
Yeah, that's what
like
I was
a
thinking when I was
5, it'd be
looking
kind
at
of
it.
cool.
Make it a 5 mana 5/4.
Yeah, I wish they pushed these a little bit more. I don't know. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think I like the design of this. And I think it being 6 mana just means that you can't really play it outside of like a really expensive commander, which I think is a little unfortunate maybe.
Or Dragon?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems pretty solid under Dragon.
It sees the most play in Obeka decks.
Okay, yeah, I could say that. I think a related type of card is cards like Command Beacon that return, or that kind of bring your commander from the zone to your hand, which kind of are a way to let you get around command attacks with like typically they're a one-off effect, but I find these kind of interesting, and I think these are potentially another way to mitigate one of the issues with high mana commanders, which is just that you get locked out of playing them really easily. You know, you cast your Gishath, it eats a removal spell. You cast it again, it eats a removal spell. You're on 10 lands, you're on 11 lands. You're going, man, I wish I could cast my spell, but I can't.
Yeah, I wanna pitch a card to everybody watching this that I think is a really underrated version of this effect. It is Road of Return. Green for a sorcery. Return target permanent from your graveyard to your hand, so that's fine. But also, you can put your commander into your hand from the command zone, and it has Entwine for 2. I don't see a lot of people playing this card. It's from Commander 2019. Pretty sweet as an extra command beacon type effect.
Yeah, I used to run it in Cura.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, until I realized you just only have to kill her once and then you win. But
in theory.
Yeah, in theory was, I was cooking.
It's a fun, flexible card. I think the issue with some of the other commander to hand designs is just that they seem very kind of purpose made for that. Like Campfire, I don't know, I think it gives you like a card or some life as well, but it's not all that inspiring.
I like Road of Return because the regrowth effect is like reasonable.
Oh yeah, for sure. Shout out to Campfire though for Popper. Really good card.
Is it?
Just to gain life against burn.
Yeah, no, legitimately, it's actually good.
Because it's pay 1,
really
tap,
funny.
gain 2 life. You can just do that repeatedly.
It's not a bad rate, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's in sideboards.
It's also an artifact you can sack for like the decks that care about that.
Yes,
That's true. Oh, yeah.
It's an artifact on board for affinity.
Oh,
it has like
sure.
it has a lot of play in Popper. It's really
and then
fun.
sometimes
Popper's
you're
a
up
good
against
format.
sometimes there's like 2% of games you're up against persistent petitioners, like the mill deck. You just go,
oh yeah,
sorry, pal, shuffle my graveyard into my library. I got more where that came from.
That's kind of funny. I forgot that it also shuffles graveyard into library. That's still not a very good card in Commander, but it's okay.
Oh, it's horrific, but
it is awesome that Popper
hilarious.
uses all of the effects of that other than the Commander thing.
Yeah, no, that's good.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about Keen Duelist. This is probably my favorite for Commander design. It's 1 in a black for a 2/2 human wizard, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you and target opponent each reveal the top card of your library, and then you punch each other for the mana value of the card revealed by the other player. So if I reveal an 8-drop and you reveal a land, I take 0, you take 8, we both draw those cards. I played in Cormella, and I love that it incentivizes just huge fuck off mana values in your decks when normally cheap and efficient's always the way to go.
Yeah, this is like kind of a white effect too, which is interesting, but I like that it also has the Dark Confidant aspect where it both encourages you to have a deck with a lot of high mana stuff and also encourages you to actually think about what opponent you're targeting, not necessarily just what opponent is the most behind or what opponent you want to make a deal with or etc.
Yeah, you're able to be political with it. And then when you're like an evil bastard with it, you can still pretend you're being political with it. And it's hilarious. During MagicCon Atlanta, I was playing a game with Krim. And I was like, hey, Krim, we're friends, right? And he's like, no. It's like, it's the third time I've nuked him from the top of my library. I just kept targeting him. Here you go, pal. Have another card.
I think a similar, not a similar design, but something I also think of is Brina, which is a commander that I play currently.
Yeah.
Which has a very convoluted rules text that basically just wants you to have more opponents, and it wants you to attack the opponent with the most life, or attack an opponent who is not the opponent with the least life, which ends up really interesting because it usually means that even though it lets you build up a board really fast in terms of size because of the +1/+1 counters, you can't kill off opponents very quickly because you'll stop getting the benefit if you start attacking one. So the whole table ends up dipping in life total kind of at the same time.
It's another one of these. This design is so clever. It's another like aggro card that doesn't encourage you to just like nuke one player down.
Yes.
But it is still like a reasonably powerful aggressive card in Commander, which I think is really good.
Yeah, I lost a lot playing this deck, but because I mean because that's what happens, you know. If you're playing aggro,
I mean, if you give other people cards, they might win with it, you know.
It's not even that. It's just that like it might have been that I wasn't keeping track of how many cards I was giving people, but it was
I've
just
played
that,
a lot
like,
of Brina and I've lost.
I would just like become the horrifying aggro threat, and then people would bully me down gradually, and then I wouldn't have anybody at low enough life to like knock them out if they were the threat.
I was gonna say one type of Commander design that I really like is when they put one-off effects on legendary creatures, or I guess it can be any card, but you know, oftentimes legendary creatures, because when they design like a set that's supposed to be a standard set, it's kind of hard sometimes if it's not the set mechanic to make a card do a thing. So my example is Taunos, Urza's Apprentice. He's got haste, blue-red, tap, copy, target activated or triggered ability from an artifact source. You may choose new targets for the copy. That's kind of a weird, specific effect that would be hard for them to print into a set, but because it's a commander precon, and this is like the backup commander, they can, you know, jam a strange effect on a card as a one-off, and then now you have that as an option, which I think is pretty cool. That's one of my favorite commanders. Yeah,
and we definitely see some neat designs in backup commanders in general. I think of one of the most popular Esper commanders now is Hashaton, which was a backup commander for
to fucking Temet.
I don't even remember the name of the card because it's so forgettable. Yeah, it was just kind of neat.
Hey, Temet is a very good card in the 99 of better zombie commanders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the first time we saw a backup commander become more popular than the original one?
No.
It's been Hearthhole.
Oh, was Hearthhole the backup commander? No,
Hearthhole was the face.
Oh, no, I got confused because they're the spacecrafts, but I remember they were originally pitched with because the backup commander is on the face of the box of those precons.
Yes.
So technically Hearthhole is the face, I guess, but the key art for it is the backup commander, which is really confusing.
I had some people commenting on my video about that deck saying that Sarek is the better commander, and I was like, can you read? It's really not very good.
No,
the backup commander is Sarzel
it's
Genesis?
just a glorified Ramanap excavator. It's not a very good card.
Dude,
I don't even know what this card does. Sorry.
Red Gitrog monster or bug that grows. Which one's better?
You may play lands from your graveyard, Crucible. When you sacrifice another non-token permanent during your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power onto another target creature. I mean, I think it's interesting because it doesn't buff itself. You actually have to buff it.
Yeah.
Man, you know what? It's crazy seeing this and Korvold, because Korvold has like no limitations, whereas this one is sacrifice a non-token thing during your turn specifically. Whereas Korvold, you can sack treasures and draw like 800 cards.
Korvold just kind of goes crazy. Everything looks bad in comparison.
This is true.
Sorry, I got us off topic. What are we talking about? Oh, backup commanders.
No, we love yapping.
Oh, yeah. Screw backup commanders. I want to talk about a commander mechanic that I probably should have brought up when we were talking about it earlier. What do you think of partner?
I want to like it, but the answer is that it's way too strong. It's just so good. And this is like, the thing is I glaze companions in Commander, and it's because a singleton format is way harder to do a companion restriction around. To jump through that hoop to get that extra card, you work so hard for it. And then you have like Tymna, which is, if you ran Tymna alone in a command zone, it would be a good deck. and then you get a bonus on top of that. Oh my God, are you joking? And even the monocolor commanders, most of them are very good, like almost too good. And then partner with, that gets a little bit better because at least they can like kind of sculpt the design slightly around it. But then we kind of fall back off with backgrounds because backgrounds are very strong. Like just having that extra card is busted. It's stupid. It's very good. Way too good, in fact. And I hope we never see partners again, Loki.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we explored that. I'm glad we experimented. There's some good design space there, but it is legitimately dangerous to just give you a free card.
I want to like partners. Also, to be clear, I think it is possible to balance anything in the commander format. You can balance eminence. You can balance, you can just make a card bad. Partner is definitely very dangerous, though. I think it's in a similar territory to eminence, probably more so, where it is just very possible to go wrong. I think if you put any easy value on a card, that's a bad design. If you make it more than one color, I think that's a bad design. There are some partners that I really like. I like the design of Anara. I like Essior. I like Falthus. I like Kedis.
Yeah. To be clear, there are designs independently that I do enjoy. It's just like this mechanic is so dangerous.
Yeah.
But I do love you, Ghost of Ramirez de Pietro.
Yeah.
Mwah. You're one of the good ones, pal.
It's dangerous, and it also just feels like even more of a departure from Commander as a like symbol than Eminence does. Like you have two guys instead of the one guy. Like that's, I don't know. That's
so I do, occasionally. I used to really, really hate partners, but then I'm like, oh, I'm such a hipster. I should do this partner combo that has like 7 decks or whatever. It sparked joy that way, I suppose. But like definitely against very new players, there's always, or oftentimes, they'll see me pull 2 commanders out and they'll be like, what's going on? Because it does like kind of challenge the like idea of the format.
Yeah.
All right, here's a proposed rules change that I wonder if you guys find interesting. But like, have you, we're now really off topic. I just want to get your opinion on this real quick. Thoughts on having the partners share their commander tax? So like, it's not how many times you've cast each one individually, but if you've cast Thrasios, then Tymna costs 5. You can't just curve them out.
A dual commander actually does something similar, not entirely. Dual commander, if you
really?
cast one, the other one's locked forever. You cannot cast it. So if you if you cast Tymna, you do not get Thrasios forever. You have picked Tymna to be your commander. And that does solve the card advantage issue that commanders partners have. I have a commander cube, and the joke there is that partners, every monocolor creature has partner, but you exile a card from your opening hand to make up for the card advantage of it. The thing is like that also doesn't work, sadly, even though it looks like the most elegant solution, because you still have 2 permanent cards that you can cast forever, even if they're removed, versus just 1 that scales linearly. I do like the idea of sharing commander tax. I do think it is slightly clunky though, that your first guy makes your second guy cost more. Although it does fix one of the big issues with partner, where if you have a 2-drop and a 3-drop commander, you can just go all big drop commanders, or vice versa. Like you can just like include 2 things in your curve that are your commander, which are guaranteed hits, versus just 1 thing, which is always a little bit weird and clunky to build around.
So I think that all those suggestions they don't really change anything about the partner mechanic. They're balance tweaks. And I don't think partner is felt as overpowered at low levels of commander. Now, for these changes for CEDH, I could totally see people being in favor of, having shared command tax in CEDH. I could definitely see. I know some CEDH players don't like partners very much. I think, right?
There's so much crazy stuff that happens at a lower game of Commander, like a lower power level, that is, not lower in terms of morality. Let me make that clear, commenters. I'm not being evil here. But like a lower power level game, there's just so much random stuff that happens that, you don't really manifest the value of 2 cards in your, like 1 extra card in your opening hand and command zone, basically, that
for
you would normally
makes sense
see.
As a tweak for sure, though.
Oh, but limited, 1v1 dual commander, that makes a lot of sense too. It's like, because the value means a lot more, but casual commander, I've hit you with like Jasath and just shit like 6 dinosaurs into play. I don't care that you have 2 dudes. It's just like, but it is definitely a thing that it does matter quite a bit, even if it isn't like apparent.
I personally don't think that the commander tax rule needs to be changed. I don't think it's like that big a deal for casual. And I think most CDH players are probably in agreement. I can't speak for everybody, but I haven't heard too many people talk about that. If anything, I feel like more people would just want Tymna banned because that card is ridiculous. This card is so stupid.
Tymna is so dumb.
So actually just recently we had Fishbowl 6 in San Diego, which is pretty much the biggest CDH tournament. And the winning list was Tymna Dargo.
Dargo, I see. Yeah.
Third place was also Tymna Dargo, but you'll notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Tymna lists in the top 16.
Wow.
Tymna is really good. Also, big shout outs to the person who got 16th on Teferi Temporal Archmage in current year.
That's awesome.
Goat. My goat right there. That's awesome.
That's good.
So, I mean, crazy. A card that enables hate bears that stifle your opponent's plays that also just makes them draw cards. That's a good card. And you also get another commander. Wow. Yes. I never would have guessed that one.
Oh yeah, Tymna is just, I don't know. This one, even if the card was like without partner, this design is kind of crazy. I don't know, it just draws so many cards. I feel like, I don't know, that's my big problem with certain made for commander cards is when the like card advantage that the commander brings is very large. It can sometimes be frustrating to play against. We keep looping back to Corvold, but that's kind of the problem with Corvold is like if they untap with it, they'll have more cards than God. So like, you just instantly lose. And that's the power level problem, I feel like, is when you have too many kill on sight commanders. Because I do feel like those are frustrating for new players.
I don't feel like that's necessarily a made for commander problem though. Like, Xur the Enchanter built a certain way is also a kill on sight commander. So
I agree. You're correct.
It's definitely possible to have but it might happen more in made for commander designs. I don't know.
I feel like Xur is an outlier. You know what? I was about to say name another good Ice Age commander, but honestly, we're literally staring at it on these on the results for the CDH deck because Arkham Dagson is coming back. There's 2 Arkham Dagsons in the top 16.
Oh hell yeah!
That commander is making a comeback.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, man, CDH is awesome. You can play Ral, you can play Arkham Dagson, you can play Teferi and Gwenim. Like, come on, that's so cool.
Ooh, I mean, hang on. You also have Hack on Stromgold Scourge, the Knights from Graveyard guy. He's kind of dope. Let's be real.
He is cool. I don't think he's like overbearingly powerful. Though. He's not
no,
like
absolutely not. Yeah. But like he's very fun and cool and good, actually.
For sure.
I want to bring up one more thing that I think is kind of cool. This is just slight CDH tangent, but there's a Green Goblin deck floating around. I think. So the front half doesn't matter, the Norman Osborn half, but the other half, Green Goblin,
good old Fleam.
Yeah, Fleam exactly. Is pretty cool. So it has this effect that when you discard a card, you can cast it that turn, right? Everything in your bin has Mayhem. So the way the deck works is it's like turbo ad nauseum, try to draw as many things as it can. Backup plan. Here's the plan B. Plan B, you cast Green Goblin. Then you move to discard. You ditch like 30 cards to Necropotence. With the Necropotence trigger to exile them on the stack, cast Born Upon a Wind, and then cast all of those before they go into exile by just like storming off in your end step.
Really funny.
Isn't that cool?
That is funny.
That's good.
It's like such a funny plan B. It's really cool. It's not like, I don't, it remains to be seen if that's like the best Grixis commander or anything. I don't think it will be, but it is a funny line you can do. I think it's kind of cool. Okay, moving on to the Beseech the Mirror section. This is where you beseech us for answers. All you got to do is put mirror in your comment here on YouTube or on Spotify, or you can ping us on socials. Links to that in the description. Yeah, let's get some questions. Okay, so this one is kind of on theme. Mitchell Boiling 4 numbers says, Mirror, I wish Yusuf a happy birthday to ask, what are your favorite precons, both in terms of overall construction and fun factor?
I have Necrons. This is the one I actively play whenever people are like, I want to play precons. And I like Necrons because I find it very charming. I find it very charming in the ways that it's awful. Most notably, its mana curve like flips me off. It's literally like there's a wall of 4s bisecting the deck. There's horrific cards, including one of the worst cards I've ever seen, Tomb Blade, in this deck. Oh my gosh. I would read it for the viewers at home, but legitimately, I don't want your ears to start bleeding. I have a video talking about precons, and this is the highlight of that video, is I just crash out about how awful this deck is. To be clear, it does some very funny things if you draw the right half of the deck, But if you draw the left half of the deck, oh, God help you. Because you are going to have a handful of 4-drops. You're going to be floating so much mana. You're so mana inefficient. You'll learn to appreciate a curve playing this precon. It's gorgeous. It's so funny when it messes up. And then it has such funny plays too. Like I had, for instance, one game, the biotransference. It's an enchantment that makes everything into artifacts, including things in your hand. And then I attacked with the 5-drop Necron and Rakir the Traveler that lets you free cast an artifact from your graveyard. And I free cast the Shard of the Nightbringer that normally isn't an artifact and drained someone for half and killed them. It was so funny. Oh my gosh. It like if you draw the token half, it's a beautiful deck and it plays beautifully and it's so much fun. And you're blasting people and making a ton of Necron tokens and buffing them and killing people. And then when you draw the Unearth half of the deck, you just die. You cannot do anything. It's love it.
That's pretty good. I don't really play with precons, so I'll go with one of the ones that I reviewed. I really like the Valgavoth precon because, for one, I like that it's aggressive. It just puts a lot of damage on the table. I also like that it's just like decently-ish constructed. The third thing I like about it, and I think a lot of people would probably dislike this about it, but I find it really funny that it is a fully arch enemy commander precon. Like the commander is the most horrifying thing you've ever seen in your life, and I find it amusing that that made it as the face commander.
I have very little opinion on precons because I don't really play them, and usually when I play against them, they don't leave a lasting impression. With the exception of the Esper Knights precon with, what is his name? Sidar Jabari?
Yeah, of Zalfir.
Yeah, of Zalfir. Yeah, that card is cracked. And that precon is, as far as I'm concerned, the strongest precon. I think I mentioned this on the last episode as well, but I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the one that I think is the most powerful. Shoutouts to the original Sidar Jabari card. That card sucks. Okay, this question I think was kind of interesting. Mr. Mispaint asks, Mirror Mirror, I made a Kellen the Kid deck on Architect. Every card is either an adventure, multi-faced, modal, or split card, but does not have a specific win con. Is it okay to not have a specific win condition? Is outvaluing your opponents a win con?
Well, first things first, the verbiage is a little funny. Is it okay to have no win con? The answer is yes. You've not committed a moral failing by not having a card that says I win. That being said, yes, you can totally out attrition opponents in Commander. The thing is that it's very hard to attrition because you always have access to your commander. So here's my advice: run Drannith Magistrate and run what's the name of the stupid card? Spirit of the Labyrinth, and make sure that your opponents just can't have any fun. Just suck all the fun out of the room, and then yes, you can attrition opponents very effectively with any deck, in fact.
Yeah. I do have one deck I would describe as attrition, which is my Malfagor deck, and that is a discard deck, which kind of points to what you have to do in order to make it happen. I think, in principle, a deck without like a single standalone win con can work if the rest of the deck wins. If the broader game plan pushes you toward victory. I don't know that this broader game plan sounds like one that would push you toward victory. So it is probably worth looking into some ways that you plan to close out, or thinking about some ways that you can tweak your game plan into one that puts on some sort of pressure or otherwise has a way to knock down life totals.
Yeah. Also, Candlekeep Inspiration exists and is in your colors and is very good. I just remembered. Oh, it's goated. Oh my gosh. It's 4 and a blue sorcery. Creatures you control have base power and toughness XX, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard and in exile that are instant sorceries or have adventures. So it looks in exile for adventures, but what's hilarious about it is like if you run it in Torbrand, you can't get grave hated off of it. Not Torbrand, Talrand.
Yeah.
You can't get grave hated off your huge instant sorcery graveyard. You still buff your Drakes up a million, and it also works, of course, in adventures decks to turn your little weenies into huge monsters.
I think not having a specific win con is reasonable if you can back it up with enough value, and it is unlikely you can do so. The thing about like stacks decks, control decks, all that type of stuff, even just like good stuff like value piles, is eventually, unless your opponent's decks are like literally useless, eventually they're going to like do something and that thing will like win them the game. And it's hard to prevent all of your opponents from doing everything all the time or doing more than all your opponents combined. So when you get yourself into a winning position, perhaps you sandbagged and you got a board wipe at the good time, something like that, having the ability to turn the corner and actually flip that into a win or taking a player out or something is really important just for like win rate. But I suppose if you literally don't care at all, if you're fine losing every game, then like, yeah, just try and outvalue and see how that goes. There's nothing wrong with that.
Worst case scenario, you end up in a 4-hour bracket 2 hell game.
I just remember Alex saying I'm doing a bracket 2 game like last year in Vegas. And then like hours later was like, man, I'm still playing that same bracket 2 game.
I remember we were like, we're going to go get some food. Are you good? And he's like, I'm playing bracket 2. And we were like, all right.
Oh, there was a goddamn pillow fort player.
Who didn't have a way to win the game.
Oh.
Yeah, eventually they were trying to resolve a approach to the second son, but I think I left before they actually ended up resolving it. That was actually like 3 hours. Anyway, the long games can still be fun. That one in particular just was not.
By the way, when we say bracket 2 hell game, it's like mostly about convention play, honestly. They take a long time. We don't hate bracket 2 and we don't hate bracket 2 players.
Yeah.
Except for to the Trinket Mage, who has on multiple.
What? I've never said anything about bracket 2. What the hell?
You said verbatim, I hate bracket 2 players. I wish they stopped playing my format.
This is my format.